Good morning, Colorado. You are listening to the Daily Sun Up. It's a conversation with the Colorado Sun. I'm team editor David Krause. Before we jump into today's conversation, here is a quick message from our sponsor.
Support comes from Credit Union of Colorado, proud to call Colorado home for more than 90 years. They are a local institution with a track record of showing up for the community and putting people first. Credit Union of Colorado. Honestly good. Learn more at honestlygood.org. Energy Outreach Colorado is a statewide nonprofit helping income-qualified Coloradans pay their energy bills. They support hardworking families facing tough choices between paying utilities and buying essentials like food. Learn how Energy Outreach Colorado is creating affordable energy solutions for Coloradans at energyoutreach.org. Set the summer trend. Electrify your lawn equipment and help reduce harmful ground-level ozone in your Front Range community. Learn more at simplestepsbetterair.org.
Now, back to the show.
Happy Friday, listeners, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Simpson, editor of the Colorado Sun's Sunlit feature, and we've got a unique opportunity today. Through a 45-year career and counting as a novelist, James Ellroy has been recognized among the most distinctive voices in American crime fiction. His morally complex novels about crime, corruption, politics, and power in mid-20th century Los Angeles, some of which, like L.A. Confidential, found their way to film, blend historical fact with fictional characters. He's also famously averse to technology, but he recently agreed to chat with us via his telephone landline to talk about his new book, Red Sheet. The sound quality of the recording may not be as crisp as usual, but Ellroy was his typical outspoken and, yes, occasionally profane self. Welcome, listeners, and thanks for joining us for another chat with a Colorado-connected author. Although, in fairness, James Ellroy, often referred to as the demon dog of American letters, has most famously been identified with his best-selling work centering on his home city of Los Angeles, which, of course, is the setting for many of his historical crime novels, including his most recent work, Red Sheet, which hit bookstores just a few weeks ago. Thanks so much for joining us, James.
Well, it's my pleasure, sir.
Well, let's jump right into Red Sheet because there's just so much going on. It's October of 1962. Bobby Kennedy's the Attorney General. He's worried about communist backlash to the Cuban Missile Crisis, orders an investigation, and I'm hardly scratching the surface here. The lead investigator is a familiar name throughout your work, the cop-turned-corrupt private eye, Freddie Otash. And that would be more than enough storylines for a lot of novelists, but you're just getting warmed up. Tell us a little more about the incredible scope of this novel.
It is a complete social and criminal history of L.A., my smog-bound fatherland. In the fall of 1962, when I was 14 years old, Richard Nixon, the defeated vice president and loser in the Kennedy-Nixon election of 1960, is running for governor of California against the incumbent, Edmund G. Pat Brown. He's way behind in the polls and headed for Shittsville, USA. That's another plot line. We got some murders. There's a murder on Halloween night. There was a murder way back in April, a double murder of 1954. And Robert F. Kennedy fears communist backlash now that the fucking commies have blinked, wimped, and pulled their missiles aimed at America, I might add, out of Cuba. It was John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy's finest moment, but it's not enough for the man that Freddie Otash calls Rat Fuck Bobby.
Across your novels, you chronicle really an expansive history of LA in the mid-20th century. Where does Red Sheet fit into the larger works?
I think it's my best book. It's my most outrageous book. It's my most geopolitically deep book. It's my most moving book. I think it's my greatest book.
So we've got a great excerpt from Red Sheet coming up Sunday, listeners, so be sure to check that out. It's from Chapter 4, and it describes an unusual lineup of suspects. James, can you put this excerpt in context for us?
Okay, it's Chapter 4, and LAPD, at their insensitive and innovative best, has rounded up some communists, apostate communists, and a colorful character named Henry Cathcart Wilkins, a black man, former communist, who later became the burgermeister of LA's Negro Nazi League. Freddie and a woman, a former communist, named D.J. Seamers, Dorothy June, questioned these people and bait them, and it's a riotous scene. Now, I played the blacklisted mock martyrs of the Hollywood 10 for laughs, and there are laughs abundant in this chapter. When I heard that you wanted to excerpt this chapter, I was overjoyed.
It's fantastic, and I strongly urge our listeners to check this out. But, just to go off on a slight tangent here, I wanted to talk a little about Freddie Otash, who, of course, was an actual person. And at one point, you sat down with the real Freddie Otash before he died. I'm wondering, was there something about his personality that convinced you that he or some variation of him belonged in fiction? And if so, how did you change the character Freddie from the real life person?
Freddie Otash was a sack of shit. He was rude, crude, vulgar. He was caustic. There was a craven, cowardly quality to him as well. I have made him into that venerable literary archetype, the great detective. And here he is, 40 years of age now, falling in love for the first time with a woman I can't stop thinking about her. I was thinking about her when I was 14, 15 years old. I still am. She left us, God bless her, in 2022. Of course, the great folk singer, Judy Henske. So Freddie's in for it in this book. He will come to grips with himself. I'm not giving much away here. The prequel to Red Sheet, The Enchanters, which takes place earlier in 1962, kicks off Freddie's voyage of self-discovery. And I'm not done with him yet because I'm going to write a sequel to Red Sheet as well.
Wow. I also wanted to ask you a little bit about your creative process. Of course, you sort of famously write in longhand, not a big fan of technology. I'm wondering if you've made any concessions to technology over the years, either in your writing or otherwise, as maybe it's become harder to avoid as the publishing world goes increasingly digital.
No, I've never gone digital. I've never used a computer. I don't have a cell phone. You can't text me. I'm speaking to you on a landline telephone. I have a website that a fellow maintains for me professionally. He's a paid hand. And that's as far as it goes. If I need to buy a pair of shoes, my wife will boot up a shoe purveyor on the internet. I'll use a couple of pictures. And that's that. But no, I'm computer illiterate.
Why is that? I'm not too far behind you in age. And myself and others, I guess, have felt like we needed to adapt. But you certainly done just fine without all these extra bells and whistles we have.
I like the quiet world. I rarely watch television. I'll watch boxing on television. I don't really know what streaming services are. I don't know what apps are. Computer language leaves me cold. Now there's artificial intelligence. It's the presence of Satan on earth.
Well, your storylines, as we talked earlier, they're so intricate and built around so many characters. In terms of your writing process, how do you keep all your characters and plot lines organized? Especially, without today, we've got any number of digital helpers we could use, but obviously you go a different way.
The outline for Red Sheet is 450 pages. I have a woman who lives in the south of France who types for me. She types the manuscripts that I sent her, block printed on white notebook paper. We do numerous drafts. I live in a nice apartment complex with a concierge service here in Denver, and they stream or do whatever they do to get the pages to her. And they receive the pages and bring them upstairs to me.
And that obviously still works for you. You never felt the least bit enticed to try something different?
No.
Well, James, your writing style has been called one of the most distinctive in American fiction. And I know a few of the words I've heard to describe it are compressed, hard-boiled, noir, rhythmic, musical. How would you describe it, and how did it evolve over the course of your career?
Well, I started out over-relying on concision. Then I gradually expanded my style, be it in the first person, one viewpoint, or three people, multi-viewpoint, to allow more detail in. The style is more reader-friendly, but it is still notably concise. It's also rhythmic. If you look back over the numerous paragraphs in Red Sheet, which is 540 pages long, you'll see that I usually end, be it in dialogue or description, with words of one syllable.
And that's a conscious effort to do that?
I didn't realize I was doing it until I'd been doing it for a while. But yes, that's the way that sounds best to me.
So do you agree with the folks who find it rhythmic? Is there a rhythm to it when you get started writing? Can you almost hear it?
I can hear it because I read very slowly, and I do, in fact, move my lips when I read, and I speak the words aloud as I print them on the pages.
Well, your first novel was published in 1981, and recently you've been touring the country behind Red Sheet. Have you noticed a new generation embracing your novels aside from your long-established fans?
I have fewer readers now than I did at peak points in my career. The people are lazy now. They don't like to spend the amount of time reading that my books require and the intense concentration that my books require, given the density of the plots, the numerous names that one has to retain. So, yes, I've noticed that. The art of reading has deteriorated, and I blame computers.
So when you meet with younger fans or newer fans coming to you, are they coming to you solely through books, or do they connect with your work like through podcasts or online communities, films, what have you?
Now, these are readers that seek me out. I have young readers. I have younger readers. Most of my readers, the demographic is overwhelmingly male. and the fiction reading demographic is overwhelmingly female, which may be why my sales have declined.
Well, you've lived in Colorado now for quite a few years, and you've noted previously it's quite a different vibe from Los Angeles, of course. But has living here changed the way you think about storytelling at all?
No. I've lived all over the place, and I've lived in suburban New York, suburban Connecticut, Carmel, Kansas City, San Francisco. I went back to LA for 9 years, and then I got back with my second ex-wife, and she was living in Denver. She said, "Hey, I moved twice for you. You've got to move once for me." So I like Denver.
But you've also lived here long enough now to absorb some local characters, some history, obviously Denver's overall vibe. Can you imagine setting a crime novel in Colorado, or what it might look like?
No. I will write books set in historical Los Angeles for the rest of my life.
So what is
I've
next?
written books outside of LA before: Mexico, Washington, D.C., the American South, Chicago, New York City. But it's LA from here on in.
So what is next for you? You mentioned you're not quite done with Freddie Otash. Is there another novel in the works, or at least?
There's the fourth Freddie Otash novel. I'm not at liberty to discuss it yet, but look for it in 2.5 years.
All right. Well, we've been talking with James Ellroy, author of Red Sheet and so many other groundbreaking, best-selling, and defining works of fiction. Be sure to catch an excerpt from his newest novel starting Sunday in our Sunlit feature at coloradosun.com. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today, James.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. God bless you.
Thanks for listening. And finally, here are a few stories that you should know about today.
Victor Marks will be the Republican nominee for Colorado governor in the November election. The Associated Press called the race Thursday, more than a week after the primary. The final vote will be certified by the Secretary of State's office. Marks will face Attorney General Phil Weiser, the winner of the Democratic primary. Investigations commissioned by the towns of Telluride and Mountain Village found no evidence of a government conspiracy in an offer to buy Telluride ski area. The outside investigations did not uncover illegal actions by local leaders who have since resigned in the wake of their offer in December. Wildfire season tends to remind homeowners to check on their coverage, even if they're nowhere near a fire. And it's a good time for folks to get updated on policy changes, new regulations, and even possible discounts. We have a breakdown of Colorado insurance laws that have changed since the Marshall Fire in 2021.
To read these stories and much more, visit our website, coloradosun.com. As an award-winning nonprofit news outlet, we take our mission of credible, independent journalism seriously, and you can check out our trust indicators at coloradosun.com/ethics. Our music is by the Denver-based Matt Skellinger Group. A link to their music is in our show notes, and a special thanks to Swallow Hill Music. I'm David Krause. See you next time.